Hi, you guys, Coach Liz. I thought I would do a part two about what we talked about last week. Last week, we talked about the importance of balancing your blood sugar by eating every few hours and also why fuelings can help you do that. So, this week, I wanted to dive into a little bit more about how to balance your blood sugar, not just with fuelings, with everyday normal food, because the fuelings, yes, they're naturally going to balance your blood sugar. And that's one thing I love is you don't have to think about it. It's all the program's all done for you. But what are some tips that you can start practicing now or with your family, teaching your kids how to balance their blood sugar through what they're eating? So, looking in the Life Book, Element 15, where Dr. Anderson talks about how to eat healthy for life, really dives into the science of balancing blood sugar. There are some charts in there that you can see what things are lowest glycemic, what things are highest glycemic. Now, what is the glycemic index? Basically, it's a chart that rates food on the how it affects your body. So sugar would be 100. And so if a food is close to 100, your body reads that almost as pure sugar. So it's very interesting. Some things with like vegetables can differ whether they are cooked or not cooked. So carrots, for example, I think are like 65 on the glycemic index. So not very high, just average. But if you cook a carrot, it is like 95 on the glycemic index. So it releases all that sugar and it will spike your blood sugar a lot more than a raw carrot. But you don't have to overthink it. Typically, most foods are overall the same. So learning what foods will spike your blood sugar more. So kind of the trick on what things keep your blood sugar balanced is protein, fiber, and fats. Those things help to stabilize your blood sugar. So making sure that your meal has those three things really makes a difference. And the way that you eat things really affects your blood sugar too. If you were just to eat like some rice or some bread by itself, it's going to spike your blood sugar quite a bit. But if you pair those foods with something that keeps your blood sugar down, like protein, it will help to pull that blood sugar down and decrease the absorption of that sugar. So it keeps your blood sugar more balanced. So that's very interesting. Also, eating sugar on an empty stomach for sure is going to spike your blood sugar. So one rule of thumb, if you are ever going to have a dessert or, something sweet or bread, it's important to pair it with something else. So a naked carb is something that's just by itself. You want to put clothes on your carbs when you eat them so that it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So pairing bread with an egg or some nut butter, pairing fruit with some cottage cheese or Greek yogurt or, a few almonds, something like that is really going to affect the blood sugar. So being mindful of how you eat things, how it affects your body makes a big difference. Now, a few tips on how to keep your blood sugar more balanced is number one, exercise. Muscle helps control blood sugar because muscle can absorb that glycogen faster so it doesn't spike the blood sugar. So, having muscle is important. So, making sure that you are doing weight-bearing exercises to build muscle, that's going to help your blood sugar stay more stable. But also, going for a walk, either before or preferably right after a meal, will help to balance the blood sugar. So that's a great time to just go for a walk or do something, even if it's running up and down the stairs a few times or doing some push-ups. Something that will use your muscle will help to balance your blood sugar. So that's a great time to go for a family walk or after a lunch, go for a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be a really long exercise. Just to get your muscles moving will help to absorb that sugar and so it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So that will be an important thing. Also, the order that you eat things makes a big difference. So if you eat the carbs first, your blood sugar will spike much more than if you eat the fiber first. So starting your meal with a vegetable or protein, having that first, especially with vegetables, it kind of like it slows down digestion so that sugar can't just rush through your system. So it kind of like clogs it from the foods going through and spiking the blood sugar. So your body has to digest that food first, the fiber first. So starting your meal with a vegetable can really help to keep that blood sugar down. So that's a nice trick. Also, having a little vinegar, like in water, a tablespoon or two of like apple cider vinegar or any vinegar besides balsamic vinegar before a meal can really help your blood sugar stay more stable. Or using a dressing that's a vinegar-based dressing can help control your blood sugar. So that's always a great tip too. And then portion, like keeping your portions small and balanced is really helpful too. So those are all little things that affect your blood sugar. Sleep, stress, those affect your blood sugar also. But just little switches that you can make as far as pairing your food, always having a protein with your food, really prioritizing fiber like vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats. That can really help your blood sugar, and eating that first before you eat a carb. And then for sure, never eating a naked carb, not eating dessert on its own or chips or something that will spike your blood sugar. If you're going to have something like that, have it at the end of your meal so that your body is already burning and being efficient, and that will help to burn that and balance the blood sugar too. So having a small portion after a meal is much better than having it on its own. So those are just a few tips that might help you, like as you're being more mindful of what you're eating, to think about how your body is handling the food that you're eating. And learning to balance your blood sugar is going to help your inflammation so much, and it's also going to affect how much of your body is stores that food as fat. So learning to balance your blood sugar really helps the efficiency of digesting your food. Also, last tip is making your body work to digest it. So not blending, like smoothies are nice sometimes, making sure that you have protein in them for sure, but a blended fruit, your body doesn't have to work to break that down. Eating a whole piece of fruit is much healthier than a blended piece of fruit. So doing that most often. Or also if you're going to eat grains, like whole grains are much healthier than refined grains. So white bread is already broken down, so your body doesn't really have to work to digest it. Whereas if you eat whole grains, your body actually has to work, and it helps control that blood sugar because it takes longer to digest. So it doesn't just go right into the bloodstream. So those are a few tips that really help me to be mindful. And then also just, making sure that you get protein every time you eat. That's like an easy trick to help keep your blood sugar balanced. And of course, if you need something fast, the fuelings, just having these on hand to know that your blood sugar is going to stay balanced by eating something balanced like that, that's balanced carbs and protein. So that is a few tips for you to add on to what we talked about last week about eating frequently every few hours and how fuelings can help you. Balancing your blood sugar can help you in so many ways. All right, have a good week.